Good afternoon, Your Excellencies. Your Excellency President Pavel, a very warm welcome to Rwanda. Your Excellencies, we have here members of the press, and before we proceed to take questions from them, I would like to ask if you have any brief statements you'd like to make. Your Excellency President Kagame, may I invite you to make your remarks.
Excellency Pavel, President of the Czech Republic, members of the delegation and the media, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. President Pavel, I welcome you with pleasure and together with your delegation to Rwanda. Once again, I want to thank you for being with us to commemorate the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi. The Czech Republic played a prominent role in calling for action to stop the genocide. We will always be grateful to Ambassador Karel Kovenda and to the Czech Republic. This spirit of solidarity and of speaking up against injustice creates lasting bonds of friendship and respect. The President and I had very productive discussion. We value our close collaboration in the defense and security and many other areas. Together, I want to strengthen our cooperation in health, it complements Rwanda's efforts to invest in health infrastructure and our medical workforce. We welcome Czech entrepreneurs to come to Rwanda and start businesses. Our strategy has been to establish an enabling policy and regulatory environment. Last year, Rwanda opened an embassy in Prague. We are confident this will bring us even closer together. Mr. President, I thank you once again for honoring us with your visit, and thank you all for your kind attention. May I, President, invite you to take the floor if you wish to.
Thank you, Mr. President, and dear members of your delegation. I'm really honored that we were invited with my delegation to take part in the commemoration of 30th anniversary of genocide in Rwanda, which we have to remind ourselves for not to repeat such a horrible event, to allow it to happen again. We also take this opportunity to extend our partnership with Rwanda, which already has very sound foundations in the areas of security and defense, in the area of medical support, in the area of wildlife protection, infrastructure, and then also other areas. I have found in President Kagame a partner with goodwill, and as we say, wherever there is a goodwill, there will be soon also concrete results, and we are ready to build on this goodwill and to open other chapters for expert discussion so that we can identify new areas for cooperation. I take the partnership and cooperation with Rwanda as mutually beneficial because both sides have a lot to offer. I would like to express my great respect to the progress that your country under your leadership has done over the last 30 years, building not only on ending hostilities, reconciliation, but also building on new technologies, building on support to innovation, building on support to new approaches to administration. I think in a number of areas, your country could serve as an inspiration even to countries in Europe, to us certainly. So we will take this opportunity. We will develop other areas for cooperation. We will also open it in Czech Republic to encourage our people from business and education science to look closer at the opportunities in Rwanda. And I'm confident that we will be able in a short time to significantly extend our partnership. We also discussed broader issues of security, not only in Africa, but also globally. And I'm glad that we came to a common understanding in a number of areas, because as small countries, we have same interest in preserving stability, extending good partnership and cooperation, because this is the only way how we can achieve lasting prosperity for our countries. So in that respect, once again, thank you, Mr. President, for the invitation, for a very open discussion, and I'm quite sure that next time, once we will meet, we will do a great review of achievements that we came to. Thank you.
Thank you very much, President.
Thank you, Your Excellencies. We will now take quick questions from members of the press. We will start with our guests, starting with Jakub.
Jakub Santo from Czech Television. Your Excellency, this is a question to both of you. I would like to ask you, with respect in the last 30 years of the global situation, do you think the UN and the wider world has learned a lesson from the terrible events that were about to start 30 years ago here in Rwanda? Thank you.
Well, let me start. The short answer is no. From my standpoint, we see many mistakes being made before and after we have conflict situations and losing people in big numbers, and that bringing destruction of businesses on top of destroying lives. And so, and then going all over again with mistakes that do not end these troubles. So if mistakes were learned, there are situations where you look back and say, no, but this problem could have been prevented or could have been stopped immediately it started. If only there was the will to look at things, looking at the root causes and then fixing that. So there is always an interplay with interest, with different distorted views that only add fuel to the fire rather than actually reining in what you have to bring to an end and just doing that. So this is my observation over the last 30 years and given our own experience. Well, I could give many examples, but I think what I've said maybe says enough. If you wish to.
I can only concur with President Kagame because it seems that humanity is very resistant to learning the lessons from their own mistakes. But at the same time, what I see as a progress is growing understanding among a number of nations around the world, quite often of a different opinion on specific issues, but being united in major principles. We have seen that during the last couple of UN General Assemblies, where countries from Latin America, Africa, Asia, Europe agreed on some principles, and this is encouraging. We should seek like-minded partners wherever they are, and try to achieve significant weight to come up with sufficient counterbalance against the big actors if they make mistakes. And I think here we come to an understanding that aggression against sovereign countries should always be condemned, and we should be credible to ourselves and also to the whole world when we protect our actions. And by saying that, I'm also looking into our own camp.
The second question will be from Philbert.
Thank you, Excellency. My name is Philbert Jinima. I work for EGA. My question, Your Excellency, Rwanda and Czech Republic both went through difficult history. And I would like to ask you, how does this inform the kind of partnership you hope to build between these two countries? And also, is there maybe a room for a different way our two continents to relate? Thank you very much.
Yeah, I think there is a lot in the histories of the two countries that bring us to being similar in many ways than different. We've learned through that history, our experiences, and we try to understand what is right and what is wrong and be guided by what is right. And together, based on these positions and principles, as the President emphasized, we can create those examples that speak to the truth and maybe help people see what they are not seeing because they are distracted for many other reasons of interest and so on and so forth. That there are things we can also live by and do, and which will help prevent some of the. But we just don't live for these principles and expressing ourselves and doing that. There are practical things we can do through cooperation. We find there is a lot we can learn from other people's experiences and the capacities they have built over the years to be able to build our own experience, capacities and do things real sense, that give results. Because at the end of the day, we are talking about our people. We as countries, the Czech Republic, Rwanda, they are not just names. They are people. We are talking about the people in these countries. And these countries, people have aspirations, they have things they want to live by and do and make progress as human beings. So it's a great pleasure for us to identify a good partner like Czech Republic and enable our people to do things together and learn from each other and do business with each other and develop. It's the best thing we can have. And on that, the strength that comes out of it, we can build to achieve other things or to work with others in a wider context to be able to make our own contributions.
We will now take the last question from Czech.
Hello, Eliška Fajmanová, CNN Prima News. I also have a question for both of you, Your Excellencies. I would like to ask about the British Rwanda model and the potential Czech contribution to it, if you've also discussed it, and with what result. Thank you.
Can you say again?
The British Rwanda model concerning migration.
Okay. You wish to say that? You wish to start, and then maybe I will chip in if you...
Okay, thank you. First, I would like to appreciate the approach of Rwanda that is not only constructive, but also humanitarian with regard to the refugees. Of course, the process of dealing with the problem where it arises is much better than resolving it once it gets into the further stage. So dealing with all visa procedures in the countries from which the refugees come, or a country that is willing to host such a procedure like Rwanda, is definitely more effective and more human to those refugees. I'm glad that Rwanda is in good contact with the EU, because on the side of the EU, we should be dealing with this issue collectively, not country by country. But we're welcoming it, and I would also like to mention that Czech Republic has decided to support this initiative by donation of €1 million to UNHCR to alleviate the burden on Rwandan visa authorities, and the decision will be taken within a couple of weeks. Thank you.
Thank you. I think what we are talking about here, the model is about resolving a problem. There are many models you can use, apply to resolve one problem, and use different models depending on which one you prefer. It's not just one. But let me quickly give you the understanding of what we've been involved with. We are in the process with the United Kingdom, but it is not the first. In fact, this also came from something else we tried to handle, deal with, together with the partners. It was the situation of Libya, for example. There are a couple of other things we did with other places, but the Libyan example. In Libya, there were people, mainly Africans, going through Libya, intending to cross, or some of them did that, Mediterranean, they crossed the Mediterranean. Some didn't survive, many actually didn't. Others continued crossing. Then many more got stuck in Libya with the situation that developed there, as you know, the conflict or the terrible situation that happened in Libya. So in 2018, I happened to be the chair of the African Union. And I brought to the table for discussion how we could be helping on our continent. The aim is not to have people running away from the continent, going somewhere else in a disorganized way or in an illegal way, or causing death and mayhem. So if the one way of preventing that is to find the kind of investments we could make to actually retain these people, give them employment, give them opportunities, schools for young people, and so on and so forth. So we can't just keep being worried about people leaving the continent without understanding the cause and trying to fix the cause of that to happen. So that is what we put on the table. And in the process, working with international partners, we said we wanted to not only talk about a formula or a model, as you said, without participating in it ourselves. So we said we could bring these migrants who are stuck in Libya or others arriving and so on and so forth. Let's do one thing. We said Rwanda offers that they could be brought here. Being brought here means to be processed or to be taken through a process that can address the problem, instead of being stuck in Libya or crossing Mediterranean and perishing there. 3 things we proposed. Said if we bring them here, certainly we shall provide a better environment than they are facing in this chaos in Libya, to begin with. Second, in an orderly fashion, if there are countries that want to take in their countries these people, or some of them, the UNHCR, the IOM, they could then, in an orderly fashion, process. If country X in Europe can take 10 or 100 or 200, process it properly, and then they are taken there. The second would be, among these people, if there are those who discovered they made a mistake of rushing into Libya, wanting to cross, and now are tired and want to go back home, to be taken back home, then they will also be processed and taken back home in an orderly fashion. The third category would be, there will be those who don't find people to take them to Europe, for example, or they don't want to go back home. We even offered, they said they can stay here until they find what to do or where to go. But when they are in a safe environment, because Libya, where they were, there was no safe environment. That's what we offered, that's what we did, and so far we have processed with UNHCR and other institutions, we have processed over 2,000 people. They've been brought here, the UNHCR helped, they bring them, they charter planes, they ferry them to this place, and we have prepared a place where they stay for as long as that is necessary. So, and this has worked on a small scale, of course. So this is what the UK got to know about and approached us to say, can we have so many people coming in a very, most of them illegally, others in a very bad way, or whatever it was. There are even human traffickers who smuggle people into countries. So I think the learning from this, we agreed we could still have another way of doing things. But this time, the people that are being sorted out, in most cases, are already in the UK. So really, most of the things that have to be done are with the United Kingdom. For us, we are just participants and offering this facility. In fact, some of them are even confused when they have heard that there is a, we called it migration partnership also associated with the development. The one thing we did, we say, okay, for us, we are a small country, we have no resources. We are happy to play a part, but we don't have money to feed these people, to do this, to invest in. So the money that is being talked about in this is money to help Rwanda settle these people. In fact, the UK would look after these people, but in a wider context, develop the environment, meaning they contribute, as they have done even before, to the development of Rwanda to be able to carry this burden. This is what it is. So if this model works for any other person, or for us, as you have seen, you bring people here, but you must foot the bill of their stay here. For us, we're offering, they don't have to pay for oxygen, which they breathe when they are around here. They have to do, there are things they don't have to pay for, and they don't even pay for security, which we provide our own citizens. But in terms of livelihood, we are not a country with resources to do this kind of work, looking after people who are in this state, because we already have limited resources to look after our own people. So I've probably given you a very long explanation, but this is what it is. Yeah.
We thank you, Your Excellencies, for your valuable time with us today. Our session here has come to an end, and allow me on behalf of the media to wish you all a good day. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.